second episode of Around the League. This is the divisional week of the divisional round of the playoffs. And I am your genius, your editor, creator, Mike Lewis. And here I am with my co-host, that guy with
the Nabil Habib, the handsome person, the looks, the guy that gets all, the guy that gets it all. You know, what's up? That's me. So a crazy week, man. There's a crazy week of football this past week with the wild card week. We saw a lot of teams that weren't playoff teams play this week, in my opinion. Clearly, you kind of saw who was legit and who wasn't. And you also saw a bad week on the ref side. The refs had a bad week, real bad week. Kind of putting 2 games into question with a couple plays, and very interesting. But yeah, I gotta say it was a very fun week of football, but also some games where I was just so kind of like over it, where I was like watching Tampa Bay game, Eagles game in particular. I had to stop watching.
The game was over in the first quarter.
It became background noise after the first quarter and a half. I mean, going into that fourth quarter, 31-0 was pretty embarrassing for the Eagles, and I think they're going to have an interesting offseason because that's clearly, and they had a pretty decent season for getting rid of their franchise quarterback last offseason. So Jalen Hurts stepped up to the plate, but man, it's I don't think that team is something that can really take you anywhere else besides maybe they'll get into the wild card again. We'll see.
They'll be back. The Eagles are a very.
You say so.
I always say that because they're in a very good situation. They have 3 first-round picks.
They do, yeah. That is very true.
16 and 17, so you can really, add a lot of help there. And I believe the other pick was 21 or 23, something like that. So, you had 3 first-round picks. That really, does something for you. It also puts you in a good position to go get, a top quarterback if that's what you want to do if you're going another route. But to look at the rest of the week, like you said, there wasn't really a great game to watch. 4 of the 6 were just blowouts.
The Bengals and Raiders was actually a really good game. And when I mentioned the refs, obviously, if anybody watched that game, there's a very, very highly controversial call. I mean, the cornerback gave up on the play. He heard the whistle. He stopped playing. I have no other words for it. I don't have anything against Cincinnati. I actually wanted Cincinnati to win that game because it's Ohio. I mean, come on, it's Ohio. But at the same time, man, I don't agree with that call in the slightest. The play was dead. If you blew the whistle, the play's dead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not good for business there. But to just keep on going on these games, they end up the final score being very close, but they were pretty much both Cincinnati and the Raiders, and then San Francisco and Dallas. Both of these games were pretty close to being a blowout until the end of the game.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you can say there's about 2 good quarters of football throughout the whole entire week.
Yeah. But also how embarrassing was that last drive really on the Cowboys end? I mean, I guess you can make the reasoning of the ref ran into Dak. But man, you have no timeouts with 11 seconds left or whatever it was. You don't run the ball up the middle. I mean, just don't run the ball.
Yeah, it felt like those last 14 seconds went by really quick. They really screwed the pooch by not letting the ref touch the ball first. So that cost you about 3 seconds probably. And 3 seconds is 3 seconds, no matter where you're at. That's a big difference. That's one extra play. You have an opportunity to go and tie, or at that point, you probably would have won the game. But I think what really boiled down to, you can say refs did this, refs did that, but there was a lot of mental breaks in this game for the Cowboys, where 14 penalties is just, it's hard to overcome that. And it wasn't like, oh, I was just barely out of position and it just happened. It was like blatant, stupid penalties. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
You should know better if you're, a veteran at this point. Like that was a numbskull play, and it happened way too often in that game. You know, I really don't have anything more to say out of that. I think McCarthy should be fired. That dude is way too conservative.
I think he's also just holding back the team. And right when he got hired, before last season, I said it. His coaching does not mesh well with this team.
Yeah,
I don't think so. This is like a new wave of NFL players. When you look at Dak, you look at the receivers, everyone on that team, pretty much just their style does not mesh with that type of coaching. I've been against it since day one, but hey, it's the Cowboys. Hopefully he keeps doing to him and they keep losing playoff games.
all right. I think they should go with a younger coach like Ellen Moore, who's their offensive coordinator right now.
That'd be interesting. He's been getting a lot of head coaching talk. So
yeah, I would definitely give him a look, or even Dan Quinn. I mean, the dude revamped his career, and he's getting a lot of offers right now for many positions, and I wouldn't be surprised he gets a job this upcoming off season. But to just go, I have a bunch of cool stats, like a couple of guys that stood out this week, specifically in that San Francisco Dallas game. I think the no-brainer is Deebo Samuel.
So that better be your first one.
Yeah, right. You imagine your receiver, number one receiver, having like 10 catches and 100 yards, whatever.
I love how they just like put him in the running back slot too.
He was 10 carries of 72 yards and a touchdown, and he only had 3 catches of 38, no touchdown. So that's, when you have a receiver that can go out there and do that for your offense, that's huge for your team. You're very dynamic, and you want someone that can be that Swiss Army knife that can, come out of the backfield, line up in the slot, line up on the outside, catch passes in the middle, catch passes downfield.
And his speed is out of this world, man. How he's able to go in and out of defenders and not really lose any speed is quite incredible.
Yeah, he's a tough tackle. Another game, it was a blowout, and really didn't even seem like it was close at all at any point. The game was over by the time it started. Was the Rams and the Cardinals. Looked like Kyler Murray didn't even show up, but
that was the game I was excited for. That was the game I was most excited for. And yeah, Kyler Murray, man, I don't think he threw a touchdown. He had 2 interceptions, and I think we've all seen that play where he's about to get sacked in the end zone, and he just like underhand throws it right to the defense.
Brandon Weeden play. As Brown, we've seen Brandon Weeden do that a couple times in our
had flashbacks,
our storied history. But the guy that really stood out, I think he got the monkey off his back. It's Matthew Stafford. He finally won a playoff game. He didn't have to do much. He was 13-17, only 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not a lot, but just to finally get that out of the way, that you went out there, you won the game, and you're heading to Tampa Bay next week. And honestly, I could say they can go in there and beat them. Well,
their running game is looking really good. They have Cam Akers back, and Sony Michel's really turning up this year. And then you got obviously Cooper Kupp just being an absolute animal, and Odell Beckham is looking really good, and I knew this would happen.
Find a new life. You know what? I am happy for him. I'm not going to be bitter about it. It just didn't work, and sometimes that just happens. But moving forward, we got to see the swan song of Big Ben. That was very telling of the last 5 years, a mediocre game, just like he's been mediocre for the last couple of seasons. So 42-21 is the exact beatdown those Steelers needed. Patrick Mahomes in typical form, 30 of 39, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns and a pick. Almost broke the all-time playoff touchdown record, which would have been just absolutely hilarious. That's going to be a fun game coming to watch on Sunday with Buffalo and Kansas City.
Well, I'll just start with that one because we didn't talk about Buffalo actually. Oof.
A couple more things. You got a couple more things. We'll wrap up this week with a couple more stats, and then we'll hop into our selections.
We also got to talk about Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo is the next one there. Did they take New England to the woodshed?
Oh man,
47-17.
That should look cold out there too.
And speaking of cold, I think Josh Allen was cold-blooded. He was.
Yeah, I don't think he was the coldest quarterback though. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick was the coldest. Oh, that shirt off in the stands.
Yeah, 21 of 25, 308 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And then you add that to a very unique part of their offense that has been very inconsistent is their run game. And Devin Singletary really showed out. 16 carries, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If they're able to run the ball like that,
that's what they needed all year. They needed that all year from him.
The AFC better watch out.
It's the perfect time to start that running game, man. Let's go.
Right. And then moving on to the Cincinnati Raiders game. The dynamic duo, the Bayou Bros, Jamar Chase, 9 of 116. And then he was just making a play whenever it was needed. And then Joe Burrow, 24-34, 249 yards and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, that's about an average night from Joe Burrow. But
that's what it's looking like.
24-34, 2 touchdowns. It was all business in Cincinnati. There was not a doubt in their minds that they were going to win this game. It got really close, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So that being said, it's time to finally get to the divisional week predictions. Our first game on Saturday is Cincinnati at Tennessee, 4:30 start. Tennessee's at 3.5.
And Tennessee also has Derrick Henry back.
Not exactly yet, but
he's cleared off weight, or he's activated.
He's not he will not be activated until tomorrow. They're still waiting. I just read the injury report right before we tuned in.
Speaking of injuries, Larry Ogunjobi is out.
Oh,
as well.
That's kind of a big one.
Yeah,
but
especially if they have Derrick Henry back, that's a huge one.
right. I really want to dissect this game. Derrick Henry, he's the best back in the league. Um, but when you miss about half the season, it's going to be hard to come right back into a playoff game. I guess Cincinnati teams that has been pretty good against the run throughout the whole entire season. Um, you know, I I don't really know how I feel about this Tennessee team. Um, the Cincinnati team has so many weapons that they can really hurt you. Um, Tennessee offensively, you really don't know what they're going to do in the passing game. They're really hit or miss with Tannehill. Not saying that Tannehill's a bad quarterback. Um, I'm not really sure what you're going to get out of AJ Brown. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. And same goes for Julio Jones.
Yeah, so you can say that pretty much about the entire receiving room. It's kind of similar to ours, but also obviously they have the names and a higher skill and ceiling than our receivers do. But I feel like it's the same way. Kind of like sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. And luckily they had a pretty good running back, even when Derrick Henry went out. And the running game's really been saving them the past few years.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm going with the upset. I feel pretty comfortable in Cincinnati winning this game 27-20. I just think the combination of Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow just really take this team over the top. And then you add someone that had a huge game for them was CJ Uzama. That's just another threat teams are just going to have to look out for. So I gotta go Bogles on this one.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go Titans on this one. I think there's more of a I don't want to say polished team, but more experienced team. And I think that's I said that I didn't say that last week about the Raiders, but I gotta say I think this week is really gonna come into just them knowing how to play football a little bit better and just be a little bit more prepared. I think
they've been in the playoffs. They've won the games before.
Well, I also can't count out Vrabel. I think Vrabel's a really good coach, and yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm going Texans here. I just think they have more of a consistency to them, especially if they have Derrick Henry. I've seen this Bengals team play incredibly well this year, and I've also see them play incredibly bad. I gotta say, I've seen the Titans relatively be consistent this year. I'm not saying every game they were consistent. They've lost a few that I was like, oh, but I think they're a more consistent team, and I think they're gonna win this one.
All right. Well, you got a score?
Ooh. I'm gonna say 17-20. It's
Okay.
gonna be a close one.
All right. Now moving forward, the primetime game on Saturday night, 8:15. You got the 49ers in Champion City, Lambeau Field, against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 5.5. I'm just gonna start by doing this. If I can find my zip. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Are you playing this one, huh?
Oh yeah, I did. I gotta say, go Pack, go! Here in Cleveland, when the Browns are not in the playoffs, we keep this in the closet, ready to go for the postseason. So we have a team to root for, so we're not bored. I feel a lot of people might feel differently, but I got to go with the Packers. This is Aaron Rodgers' year. It's hard to say otherwise. They've been playing outstanding ball. They got two dynamic running backs, a nice core receivers. You could argue the best receiver in the league in Devontae Adams.
I would definitely argue that.
A great offensive line, a really good defense. And what more can you say about Aaron Rodgers? An all-time great. You know, an argument was actually made to me not that long ago about Aaron Rodgers that you could say that he's probably the best quarterback of all time if it didn't come down to Super Bowl rings. If you gave Aaron Rodgers his Super Bowl rings, or at least half of what Tom Brady has, it could be a different conversation. Which I think is an interesting point. But you know, going on this week, San Francisco comes off a really close win. They had the game in their hands the whole entire week. The whole entire game. They had a great game plan. They looked like they outcoached McCarthy over there in Dallas. Kyle Shanahan put together a real nice game plan.
It has to be expected, in my opinion.
Right. Defensively, they were on point. They made big plays when they needed, but I just really don't think they're going to be able to head into Green Bay and do the same thing. And that's why I'm going to go with Green Bay 24-7. I just got to roll with Aaron Rodgers. He's just one of those guys. He's hard to bet against. Kind of similar to Tom Brady. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that bet.
I agree. And just watching Aaron work, he really just looks around and analyzes every single part of that defense. And he knows exactly what he's going to do and how his play that he just called is going to operate just by looking at, where the people are at and just how he predicts it is pretty incredible. And the man's almost going to be possibly back-to-back MVP years, which would be damn incredible. And I'm going the same way with you, man. And when you break it down, if it comes to shootout, Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to fucking win this game against Aaron Rodgers. There's just no way in hell. Aaron Rodgers is going to obviously put this team on his back, but they have an awesome defense. They have a great core of guys there. Dillon and Jones are just studs in the backfield. I've been predicting that the Packers should go into the Super Bowl. So obviously I'm going with the Packers. And I'm going to call this one, I'm going to say 27-14 Packs.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident about that. But also at the same time, if I'm wrong, hey, I like the Niners as a team. I think the Niners are a really good team. And I like the team that they built.
Yeah.
So
I want to see a little bit more of them. They got a nice little defense there, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold up there in Green Bay. Now we move over to Sunday, the 3:00 slot. This might be one of the better games of the week. And honestly, going up and down this schedule, I really think these teams are pretty even. Rams, Tampa Bay, in Tampa, of course. The Tampa Bay Buccos are favored at 3 points. I think both teams come off blowout wins where their defenses overperformed, I would say. They were insane. I think the Rams played the better opponent. It's really hard to even compare either teams.
They by far played the better opponent.
Yeah, they did, but I don't know. The way Arizona played, I think the Eagles probably would have done a lot better. I don't know.
After that game, I can't disagree with you, but at the same time, the Eagles played absolutely awful as well. So
I gave Jalen Hurts his tip of the hat. That guy went out there and did what he could.
I can't agree more.
But I believe no, I was about to say that they have he has more playoff experience than Kyler, but no, that's wrong. They're at the same level. Kyler went out there and laid an egg, and it wasn't just because he laid an egg, it was because the Rams defense was just that good.
And really, honestly, I think this defense, it's going to be really telling here of like both defenses are honestly so good that I don't want to say it really comes down to quarterback play and how many points just the defense or the offense can score. But it's going to be really interesting just to see because both defenses are just honestly really good. I think the Rams have a better defense ever so slightly.
Mike, I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
Really?
Because I think they're about balanced on both defensive sides of the ball and surrounding talent, that it does come down to quarterback play.
Yeah. I would just rather take a Rams defense, in my opinion. I think they just have that defensive line is just top tier, and Jalen Ramsey in the backfield, man.
I personally believe that Tampa Bay's defense is much better than the Rams. And I only base that off of past defense where, teams have been able to pick apart the Rams defensive, pass defense, where the Buccaneers have been about the same as last year, where they're pretty much dominant at all levels between Levante David and Devin White, Sean Bunting Murphy. I think Antoine Winfield's out for the season. There's still a very deep secondary that's made plays all season, and it'd be really hard to bet against that. And you got Tom Brady, but at the same time, I'm saying all these things, but I'm going Rams.
Really interesting. Okay.
This is one of the rare occasions that I will go against Tom Brady. I think the injuries add up for Tampa. They don't have extra dynamic where they don't have playoff Lenny this year. Ronald, I think he's also hurt again.
Yeah.
So that just adds more pain. They don't have Chris Godwin.
They don't have Antonio Brown.
Yeah, they don't have AB. So I think that's really going to hurt them this week, where they go up against a team that's about even with them. But I will say Tom Brady's going to have the better game of the two. But I feel like the Rams' surrounding talent is going to make the difference here. I just feel a big game from Odell Beckham coming up again. And I think, Cooper Kupp wasn't really needed. That's the crazy thing about this game, that he didn't have to go out and really do anything. I think he only had 3 catches, if I'm correct. But yeah, I'm gonna go Rams in a very low scoring game, 17-14.
So I'm gonna go the opposite. So that even though that we flipped on the defenses, I'm flipping on this as well. Right here, I'm gonna go Tampa. I think Tom's gonna pull it out. I agree with all the injuries, and I think that's a huge factor. But I said it's just kind of like Aaron Rodgers. I can't say that Tom can't pull it out. I think Tom can really, like, betting against him is hard. And I think they're going to find a way. I think him and Gronk and him and Evans are just going to connect. And I think Giovanni Bernard is a competent running back. I don't think he's not a great running back, but I think he's enough to get the job done. And at that point, I'd rather take Tom Brady over Matt Stafford, and then it just comes down to the defenses. And I think Brady's going to be able to pick that defense apart a lot better than Matt Stafford would do otherwise. So I'm going Tampa Bay. Kind of a low scoring game as well, but I'm going to go 17-10 Tampa.
Gotcha. Well, this is your prime time game for this week. You could say this is going to be the most watched game because it's a rematch of last year. One image that just keeps on coming up to my mind is Stephon Diggs standing on the field after losing to Kansas City in the AFC Championship, just watching them celebrate. I think this Buffalo team's been waiting all year to get back to this game. You know, I believe I think they beat them this year, Buffalo, when they played during the regular season. You know, that this Bills team, top 5 in scoring on both sides of the ball. Kansas City, you know, I picked them to lose last week. Very dumb game. Should have never picked Pittsburgh, but that was just a gut feeling. But
you are correct. The Bills beat them 38-20.
Yeah,
this year.
And this Kansas City teams has just been, at least on the defensive side of the ball, has been inconsistent. Offensively, they look like the same Chiefs that we've watched over the last couple of years against the Steelers. Like they blew up on Pittsburgh. But then again, Pittsburgh is not on the same level defensively or offensively as the Buffalo Bills.
Not even close.
You know, but I just think this is going to be Buffalo's year. And Kansas City's just going to come up short in this game. You know, they've been able to play with a lot over the last couple of years, but I think this is going to be Buffalo's game. They're going to go and win one in Kansas City, 35-30.
I agree. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think both teams are going to be in the 30s as well. I think when you just look at it, defense, Bills' defense is, in my opinion, much better than the Chiefs' struggling defense. I mean, they've been struggling kind of all season. They've been very inconsistent, and they don't have the depth pieces. And the Bills are just awesome. I mean, I think they're rated the first in the entire NFL as a defense as a whole. And then Josh Allen is catching fire. Singletary has had a monster game last week. And I mean, the receiving cores are just studs. You can say the same thing about the Chiefs, but at the end of the day, I believe the Bills this year is the more complete team. And I'm going Bills here as well. I'm going 38-30 Bills.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We definitely agreed on that one. I think we were opposites on every single game besides Green Bay.
Up until that, yeah.
Well, so I will say this is going to be a very fun week. I hope it's better than this past one. Less blowouts. You know, you look up and down this schedule. I feel like Cincinnati and Tennessee are about equal. You know, San Francisco can really give Green Bay a run, I believe. I think the Rams and Tampa Bay are very, very similar in a lot of ways. And Buffalo and Kansas City, it's you know, it's going to be a fun game to watch where there's a lot of talent. It's a rematch of last year's playoff game. Well, hey, Dexter. Oh man, we should have them pick the Super Bowl. Him and Marvin.
They're picking dogs, man.
Yeah.
Browns.
Yeah, just like put like a bowl of food and
which one do they go to?
Yeah. Oh wow. But yep, I'm excited for this week. Gonna be a lot of good football to watch.
Yeah.
You know, I will say this on a side note. I really curse the Browns here. Not as in I gave them bad luck. I curse them as God damn them. How they could not have a playoff game after this weather we had on this past weekend. They could have been playing a playoff game in a goddamn blizzard. Missed opportunity of a life. But I digress.
And especially you bring a West Coast team over here. I think we'd win that one for sure.
Raiders, like Raiders come over here and play in this. Like,
yeah.
missed opportunity. It hurts more than ever. But
But
being
thanks for watching.
We'll wrap one up. Thank you for watching once again. This is the Muni Lots Report around the league. We're going to be back again next week with some more action, and hopefully, like I said last week, we'll be full staffed. This whole work schedule has been kind of hard to piece together.
Yeah.
I believe we're all kind of on the same page where all three of us are kind of going to be starting new jobs. We'll see. So things are a little interesting right now as far as that. But
until then, next week comes, and we'll see what happens next week.
We'll be playing for the conference next week. So to the big one.
Oh yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep. Go Browns.
Go Browns.